They say becoming a grandmother is the greatest joy a woman can experience in her later years. You get all the warmth, all the unconditional love, all the sweet cuddles, and none of the sleepless nights. You are supposed to be the safe harbor for a new generation.
Okay.
But nobody warns you about what happens when your own child uses that pure, innocent love against you. Nobody tells you what it feels like to have your flesh and blood turn your only grandchild into a bargaining chip, a human toll booth you have to pay just to get a hug or a phone call. My name is Eleanor, and for 18 years, I was a victim of the most insidious, heartbreaking kind of extortion. Extortionist wasn't a stranger in a dark alley demanding my purse. It was my own daughter, Vanessa, demanding my soul.
Okay.
Ever since my granddaughter Lily was born, Vanessa saw an opportunity rather than a blessing. She realized very quickly that I would do absolutely anything for that little girl. My husband had passed away just months before Lily came into the world, and that baby was the only light left in my dark, grieving house. Vanessa knew it, and she weaponized my grief and my love with chilling precision. It started small, as these things usually do. She would call and say, "Mom, Lily really wants to come sleep over this weekend, but my car is making a weird noise. I can't risk driving her unless I get it fixed. The mechanic says it's going to be $1,000. I wrote the check immediately. Then the demands escalated. Mom, Lily wants to go to this prestigious summer camp, but I simply can't afford it. If you don't pay for it, she's going to be the only kid in her class staying home. She'll be so heartbroken." The checks got bigger. The manipulation got bolder. By the time Lily was in high school, I was basically funding Vanessa's entire luxury lifestyle under the guise of helping Lily. If I ever hesitated, if I ever asked for a receipt, or if I suggested paying the camp or the school directly, the punishment was swift and brutal. I wouldn't see Lily for a month. Vanessa would block my number, ignore my texts, and tell Lily that her grandmother was just too busy for her. I was utterly terrified of losing my only connection to my granddaughter, so I paid the ransom. Over and over again. I told myself I was being a good, supportive grandmother. I told myself I was securing Lily's future. The biggest, most devastating check of all was for Lily's college tuition. Vanessa came to me with a sob story, claiming the university required the money to be routed through a parent's primary bank account for financial aid and tax purposes. It sounded incredibly strange, but Vanessa threatened that if I didn't do it her way, the paperwork would be delayed, Lily would lose her spot, and she would have to take out massive student loans, which would be entirely wheelie with the cake. You want to we do we want Swallowing my doubts, I transferred $60,000 directly to Vanessa. I thought I was buying my granddaughter's education and her freedom from debt. I had absolutely no idea I was funding a betrayal that would shatter our family forever. The horrifying truth didn't come out in a dramatic shouting confrontation. It came out on a rainy Tuesday night, 3 months after Lily was supposed to have started her freshman year of college. My phone rang at 2 in the morning. When I answered, all I heard was hyperventilating and violent sobbing. It was Lily. She was hysterical, struggling to even form words. I panicked, jumping out of bed, asking if she was hurt, if she was safe at her campus dorm. Grandma, she choked out, her voice breaking into a million pieces. I'm not at a dorm. I'm sitting in my rusted car in a strip mall parking lot. I just got off my second shift at the diner, and I do have enough money for gas to get back to the room I am renting. The world stopped spinning. The floor fell out from under me. I asked her what on earth she was talking about. What diner? What rented room? Why wasn't she at school? And then the dam finally broke. Confessed everything to me, crying so hard she could barely breathe. She told me she never enrolled in that university. She told me her mother had taken that $60,000 and used it to fund a 2-month luxury vacation to Bali with a new boyfriend. Vanessa had bought designer bags, stayed in 5-star resorts, and drained the college fund dry. When Lily found out and confronted her own mother, Vanessa turned vicious. She threatened to kick Lily out onto the street and told her that I, her grandmother, knew all about the trip and didn't care. Vanessa had poisoned Lily's mind, telling her that I only gave the money because I felt guilty about being a bad mother, and that I didn't actually want to see her or support her education. Lily had been working 60 hours a week, flipping burgers and waiting tables, just to save enough for a security deposit on a cheap, roach-infested apartment, believing her own grandmother had abandoned her to a life of poverty. I sat in my dark bedroom, clutching the phone to my ear, feeling a physical pain in my chest that rivaled a heart attack. The betrayal was so profound, so sickeningly cruel. It literally took my breath away. My daughter wasn't just a manipulator. She was a monster. She had stolen her own child's future to buy handbags and plane tickets. She had used my desperate love for Lily as a weapon to destroy Lily's life. The overwhelming grief of realizing my daughter was completely devoid of empathy quickly transformed into a white-hot, blinding, and terrifying rage. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I went completely cold. I told Lily to start her car, drive straight to my house, and that I would pay for the gas when she got here. When she arrived, shivering, smelling of grease, and utterly exhausted, I wrapped her in a heavy blanket, made her a cup of tea, and promised her looking her dead in the eye that she would never ever have to deal with her mother's cruelty alone again. I let her sleep in my guest room, and I stayed awake in the kitchen until the sun came up, planning my next move. I knew confronting Vanessa with tears would be completely useless. She would lie, she would scream, she would play the victim, and she would try to use Lily against me all over again. You don't negotiate with a hostage taker. You neutralize them. The very next morning, while Lily was still sleeping off her exhaustion, I drove straight to my attorney's office. I didn't just update my will. I completely and aggressively restructured my entire estate. I took every single penny I had, the value of the house, the stock investments, the life insurance policies, the savings, and I placed it all into an irrevocable generation-skipping trust. I made it an ironclad spendthrift trust, the kind that cannot be touched by creditors, lawsuits, or greedy relatives. The sole beneficiary, Lily. But there was a beautiful, impenetrable catch to this legal fortress. The funds would be managed strictly by an independent corporate fiduciary. Lily could only access the principal cash when she turned 25. Until then, her tuition, her rent, her car, and her living expenses would be paid directly to the institutions and landlords by the trustee. No cash would ever touch a personal bank account where it could be coerced away. But the absolute most important clause was this: Vanessa was legally, permanently, and unequivocally barred from ever accessing, managing, acting as a proxy, or even inquiring about a single dime of that money. If Vanessa even tried to contest the trust in a court of law, a brutal no-contest clause would trigger, leaving her responsible for all legal fees and confirming her total disinheritance. I completely cut my own daughter out of my legacy, erasing her financial existence with the stroke of a pen. Waited a full week before I invited Vanessa over for dinner. She arrived wearing a brand new designer coat, probably bought with Lily's tuition, money smelling of expensive perfume, completely unaware that Lily had already moved all her belongings into my spare bedroom. She sat at my dining table, sipping my expensive wine, casually mentioned that Lily was doing great at college, but might need some extra money for textbooks and a laptop soon. I let her talk. I sat there and watched her dig her own grave with her own lies. Then I reached beside me and slid a thick manila envelope across the polished wood of the table. "What's this?" she asked, her eyes lighting up with greed, undoubtedly expecting another massive check. "It's a copy of my new estate plan," I said, my voice as calm and cold as a winter morning. "And a formal notice of your eviction from my life." She opened the envelope, her confident smile vanishing instantly as she read the dense legal jargon. When the reality hit her, when she realized she had been completely disinherited, that the trust was locked, and that her golden goose was dead and buried, the mask finally slipped. She started screaming, slamming her fists on the table, calling me a traitor. demanding to know how I could do this to my own flesh and blood, threatening to never let me see Lily again. That was exactly when the kitchen door opened and Lily walked out. Vanessa froze mid-scream. All the color drained from her face, leaving her looking like a ghost. She looked at her daughter, who was standing tall, holding my hand, no longer a frightened hostage, and then she looked back at me. There was absolutely nothing left to say. The smokescreen was gone. The game was over. I pointed to the front door and told Vanessa to leave my house and never ever come back. It has been 2 years since that explosive night. Lily is now a thriving sophomore at the university she always dreamed of attending, and the trust pays the school directly, right on time. She doesn't have to work 2 grueling jobs in a diner anymore. She just gets to be a student. She gets to be young. She gets to be free. And Vanessa, I haven't spoken a single word to her since she walked out my door. I hear through the family grapevine that she is struggling to maintain her lavish lifestyle now that she does unhave her ATM to fund it, and that she's facing massive credit card debt. But honestly, that is no longer my problem. Protected the only thing that mattered. To any grandparent watching this video right now, never let your unconditional love be used as a leash. If your own children are using your innocent grandchildren to extort you, to manipulate you, or to fund their own selfish lives, stop paying the ransom. Protect the kids. Love them fiercely, but do it legally, smartly, and ruthlessly. Cut out the middleman before the middleman destroys them. Have you ever seen a family member use a child as a bargaining chip for money? How did you handle it? Did you fight back, or did you pay the price? Share your stories in the comments below, because we desperately need to expose this kind of silent financial abuse in families. Don't let them hide their greed in the dark. Speak up.